Hi, my name is Carlos Gutierrez. I am the Executive Director of Cinema Tropical, and I want to welcome you to this very special conversation with Director Paula Hernández on her wonderful film, The Sleepwalkers, Los Sonámbulos, which is Argentina's Oscar candidate for the Best International Feature Film. Paula is one of the leading filmmakers of her generation in Argentina. She graduated from the Instituto Vocacional de Arte in 1988 and from the Universidad del Cine in Buenos Aires in 1996. She has directed 5 feature films, including Inheritance, Herencia, Rain, Lluvia, Un Amor, and The Sleepwalkers, Los Sonámbulos, and her most recent film, The Siamese Bond, Las Siamesas, had its world premiere at the Mar del Plata Film Festival and will have its international premiere at the Miami Film Festival in a few weeks. And we're thrilled also to have with us as our guest moderator, director Julia Solomonoff, who's also a leading Argentinian filmmaker of her generation. I personally known her for so many years. She has directed the feature films Hermanas in 2005, The Last Summer of La Bollita in 2009, and more recently, Nobody's Watching in 2017. She has also produced numerous films, including Lucrecia Martel Samas, Celina Smurgas, The Third Bank of the River, and she's currently head of directing of the First Time Graduate School of Cinema in Brooklyn College. Julia, Paula, welcome to this conversation, and a treat to have you both.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us, Carlos. Hola, hola, Paula.
Hola, Juli. Hola, ¿cómo están?
One thing you didn't get to mention is Paula and I are friends for like 30 years, and Carlos and I are friends for like 25, as old as Cinema Tropical. So very, very happy to be here and very happy to welcome Paula, whose 4th film, The Sleepwalkers, is now the Argentine candidate for the Academy Awards. That is huge, Paula. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we are really happy and surprised, but we are happy.
So let's start with the beginning. Let's start for those who have not seen the film. Can you describe the film a little bit for the audience?
Yeah, the Sleepwalkers is a film that takes place in a country cottage where there is an endogamic and ritualistic family that meets to be together for New Year's Eve. And there arrives Luisa to her mother-in-law's house with her teenage daughter, and that is called Anna, and her husband that is called Emilio. So in those days of some kind of outdoor confinement, and due to several situations that arise, Luisa goes into in a deeper existential rethinking, about her life, and especially related to her daughter's growth, how disconcerting can be the beginning of adolescence, and how you have to relate with her. She seems to be a new person, and you have to let her grow and give her freedom, and at the same time take care of her. So that's Luisa's point in a way. There are 2 points of view in the story. It's the point of view of the mother, and it's the point of view of the daughter. She's in the turning point, as I said, between childhood and adolescence. She has curiosity, desires, she has a lot of questions about her own new body. She needs exploration, she needs freedom, she needs to have her own opinion about life and about family bonds. So in this detachment of her daughter, Luisa gets a bit lost, and this feeling in a way makes her ask things about her own life: marriage, motherhood, family bonds, profession. So all these experiences of how each of them are living those days in this countryside are undermined by a lot of family pressures that take them both to the limit. So you go into family bond through them. This is the point of view of the film, and you go into this family well, it's that way. I mean, we go into these family things about from them. So, I mean, the plot is very simple, but it's more like an emotional experience. No, there is a kind of accumulation of moods that sometimes are expressed explicitly and sometimes not, are plagued of silences or denials or omissions. So this creates a lot of toxicity in a way.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's interesting that you say the plot is simple, because it's simple, but also we know that the complexity is when not much happens to create
exactly.
that sense of tension and that sense of past, of a shared past, and of a tension in the air without being too explicit. I think that takes a lot more craft than a script when there's a lot of plot. So I think, you say it's simple, but it's very challenging because
no, it's very difficult to do it. But I mean, it's not a narrative kind of film, no, where you can go with. So it's probably the difficult thing was to find this arch, no, this curve in all these tensions, no, in all these things that are appearing in every scene. Every scene had to add something new to keep this arch, no, till it explodes.
Yes, absolutely. And that I think you do it wonderfully in this film, to go from a sense of like everyday, like quotidian life, to the sense of something simmering, como algo hirviendo abajo, like if something boiling, something simmering, and the sense that something is going to explode, that you don't know where, but you feel the tension. But at the same time, the appearance is just a regular lunch sometimes, or a regular gathering.
You have to be quiet, not when you see the film. I mean, it takes time.
Yeah.
So
you have to learn to find those, to observe this family. And what you're saying, I think it's something that for me shows like a very good understanding and observation as a director, is that kind of modulation in each scene. Like you have the idea of this arc throughout the film, but it's also a modulation in this scene to keep the scene alive, to have them do more than what the script says, to understand like the different layers of every scene. I think that is what makes the film so strong, that you feel like there's a lot more than what we see or what we hear, right? There's always
it was some kind of meticulous process. No, that you have to be very subtle on without underlying. No, it was as if you were un químico, chemistry. No, just trying to see what you have to put on to add or not to add. Yes, that was, I think, that the most difficult. It was very different to the other films that I had made before. Maybe Lluvia has something that you can disconnect, but it was very different. So it was a kind of challenge for me just to work in this kind of film.
So what took you? Why did you make this film? What made you make this film? What motivated you?
I think that the film is born from intimate or deep questions about family ties. Probably it was when I became a mother. I became a mother at 42, so I was most of the time without having a family, just maybe couples or alone, but not a family. So that was probably, it was a kind of a starting point, no? But that has some kind of geographical elements, but were just excuses, and this is not my own life, just excuses to reflect or to think about the themes that I am interested in. Now it's mostly that. But probably it was when I became a mother that there were a lot of questions and uncertainties about that loving and unique bond, that you have with this newborn, and how this newborn connects you to a family in a different way. It's in a new way. So what is a family? Who are you since you become a mother? How do you connect with everyone else around the baby? what is the fair distance you have to have, no, between parents and children when they are growing up. So these were some kind of ideas that was all the time on my head. So I started writing about that. So there is something that says Fabian Casas, the writer that I love, that he says family is that kind of pathology that you have, no? That you so this is the way in which the film navigates in a way. So I think that I started thinking about that when I became a mother. Mostly it was that, and then, well, just it's a story, no? I like to observe families and family bonds and all the things that are said and the things that are not said. So this idea of how to shoot when they're having lunch or when they are giving presents, not to shoot exactly the people that is in action, but I was interested in the side B of the scene. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, of course. The listening, how those that are not talking are reacting. Yes,
exactly. So this was mostly the idea of most of the scenes, but when you see the fake family moments, the focus is on the side B of the scene in a way.
So what would you say was the biggest challenge of making this film?
Well, I think that was what I said before. No, that's just trying to find this arch, this curve of the accumulation of the tension. I mean, every scene had to add something new to these tensions. It was very difficult just to work on that. That was really, I mean, I love directing actors and actresses. It's something that I really enjoy. So it's a work that we made together, no, and also with the DP, when Ivan Gerasimchuk, that I work very close to him. It was our first experience in a feature film. We had worked before in a short film. There was some kind of communion between the cast and me and Ivan. No, it was a kind of dance.
Great.
Between the three of us. I mean, I had rehearsal a lot with them.
Can you tell us, because that was, I love the performances in the film. I would love to hear the casting process, how you find your actors. More than anything, you know, one thing is the actors that are established, but then the young actors, how did you find them? And then what kind of rehearsals you did? I would love to hear that.
Yeah, there are two different processes. With the actors that are established, I just send them the script and they like the characters, or they like the script. So we started working together around 2017 or 16. I mean, a few years after I shot the film. We shot in October 2018. And the cast of the teenagers and the kids, we have to do it very close to the shooting because of the age of the characters. So a year before, I made just some kind of castings. Mostly were interviews about teenagers, girls between 13 to 18. So I like this idea of just trying to understand what's going on. And I mean, when I wrote, of course, I was a lot of time thinking of my own age when I was a teenager, but it's absolutely a different moment. It was interesting for me just to meet them, no? They were just interviews. So that was the first step for the casting that I made 2 years
How
after.
were those interviews? Were they like one-on-ones? Were you interviewing
No.
with groups?
Mostly were three girls together, no, and it was very interesting because the film talks about bonds, no. So I wanted just to see them, how they relate between each other, cómo se relacionaban entre ellas.
But the three girls knew each other, or you would put them together?
No. It was just interviews, no, and we used to talk about family and about primos. How do you say primos?
Cousins.
About cousins and about the first time they have their period. I mean, we're just it was with Maria Laura Berch. Maria Laura Berch and me. She was the coach for the film and made also the casting. So we were the two of us with them. No, so it was like a very nice chats. No, you know Maria Laura. No, it's
Yeah, no, I love Maria Laura more than no. I love
she's
her.
great. She's great.
Incredible. She's
So
a
we had chats, and all these things were very useful because I was rewriting. It was very difficult to make the film when I wanted to do it, so I had to wait because of money problems, money and many problems.
Good. Yes.
So I decided just to, well, okay, let's go searching. Let's go
No,
search.
that is, for me, that is something that I constantly also tell like everybody, like students and colleagues, is like that time that you spend interviewing, meeting people, rewriting, that is making the film already. If you had the money, you may lose the opportunity of really getting to connect to the reality of the characters. You will just be working from your memory, but that time that you spent, it's the process of making the film. It's not something exterior, is part of the making.
Absolutely.
It's part of the casting, it's part of the writing, and it's part of the directing. Do you remember how long that process was of interviews and chats?
That was a few months. And it was very interesting also to interview girls of different ages, no? Because when you see somebody that is 13, it's come absolutely in a different moment of somebody that is in 15 or 18. As what the role of Anna was very difficult. So there was a moment in which we said, well, maybe you have to find somebody that is older, like 18, but looks like as if you were 15. So it was a kind of decisions that we had to rethink all the time. No, but
I also feel like that is, we do these things probably sometimes in Latin America because that's a way to connect to our story, and because we don't have money to go straight to shoot. But then you realize that many times films that go straight to shoot from paper to the set without going through this process, they feel very fake too, like it's like, it's incredible. So do you, like, for instance, after you had these chats, I'm sure there were people that, sometimes there's people that you love who they are, but they're not right for the part, but they feed you. You can get ideas from them. So how do you go from that conversation to an actual casting situation or auditions or
the auditions and the final casting was 6. I mean, when we knew that we would shoot in October, in February of this February, January in this year, in that year we started making the same kind of interviews, like two years after the first ones, no? So we made interviews for a long time, and after that we started just to try some scenes, no? The girls alone, the girl with the mother, the girl with 2 boys, and just we were working on that. And Ornella appeared. She made, like, I think that's around 5 castings with us. It was not because of her skills, but mostly it was because I was trying to understand what character I wanted to be, who was Ana, what kind of Ana, ¿no? Lo digo en español. ¿Era alguien más cándido, más ingenuo, o era alguien que tenía más conciencia de su cuerpo y del deseo? ¿No?
I'm gonna repeat that. Was it somebody more like an ingenue, somebody that was more candid, or was it somebody that was more self-aware and aware of her body? Yes.
So this idea of the desire was very important, no? Just to decide that we wanted a girl that would also have that. So I made many castings. The first one I said no, she's not. The first one I said yes, maybe she could be. Then the second one I said no, she's not. And I mean, it was a long way just to try to understand that Ornella was the actress to make Anna. At the same time, it's interesting because she's very different. No, she wasn't anything like the Anna character, but she did a great transformative work for the film. She's this She's in her teenage years. She was 15, the same age as Anna, building an identity, for herself. But we were trying to dismantle that for the role. She's this kind. If you see her, she is perfect. Es el tipo de chica que le gusta el pelo perfecto, el maquillaje. Yo quería que el pelo estuviera sucia, que estuviera ojerosa. Era como que hubo que intentar desarmarla para poder abordar a Ana. ¿Sí?
So she's a girl that tends to be very much in control of her look, her hair, her style. And in a way, in order to find Anna, we needed to undo her, to unbuild her, and undo her hair, let her be more messy in a way to reconstruct her character.
So the work was about building that confidence and trying to reach Anna without neglecting Ornella in a way, because she was also 15 and she had to play very difficult situation throughout the film. So we rehearsal for after we chose her. We rehearsal for around 3 or 4 months with the teenagers. Just not the scenes, but the things that were around the scenes. That for me it was.
What kind of space did you use to rehearse? Was it like what kind of space? ¿En qué tipo de lugar ensayaban? ¿Como una especie de espacio vacío o en una locación con elementos?
Both. I mean, we decided to go to the house, to the cottage a few times. So we read the script there, and it was important for me to be that they were familiarizados.
They became familiar with the space.
Familiar with the space. So we rehearsal many times there, but at the beginning we were just rehearsing in a studio. And then we took them to the Bosques de Palermo, to this kind of forest close to the city. So we had many different kind of rehearsals with them.
And with the rehearsals, was Maria Laura with you, or you were alone with them, or how did you?
No, that process was with Maria Laura. We worked together, and many times I was working with the adults, with Erika, Luisa, Marilu, and she was working with them. And many times we had to cross them and just work with all together. So we read scripts, we saw them, listened to them, and many times I rewrote after the rehearsals, because some scenes were really precise, and I really knew where I wanted to shoot about those scenes, but many others need more searching. So
and in any of these rehearsals, probably when you went to the location, did you bring Ivan? Did you bring your camera person?
Yes, Ivan came many times in the studio and when we were in the cottage.
Did he come with a camera or just to look?
No, he wasn't with the camera. No, just look. We just were. I like to shoot when many times, in the rehearsals. And many times I decide just.
So this means you were shooting with your phone. Yes. The rehearsals. Yes. Did you watch them later, or you just did it like what?
Many times I do it, or many times I use it just to frame or just to show how do I mean, of course, then we do that work with Ivan with the real camera, but it's a kind of un borrador, sketch,
yeah, no. A draft, yeah.
A kind of draft, so I just try a few things and then I show him, and then many times we work with that. And also with my own drawings, that every scene, this happens in all my films. I need to make drawings about how do I imagine the scenes. So it's very it's important for me just to think, and then I can show them those drawings, and it's like a starting point. It's something that. This is kind of starting point for the mise en scène.
Yes, perfect. Okay. Now I would like to ask one more question that is basically about being a female filmmaker in Argentina and having now this great opportunity at the Academy Awards, at the Oscars. Like how, talking about character arc, there's a big arc from the first film, from Herencia to today. There's a big growth as a director, as somebody who found great collaborators along. So can you tell us a little bit about how you, like from your perspective right now, see your growth and see the changes in Argentine cinema?
Well, when I started working on films in the film industry, I was 19. I was very, very young. I'm 51 now. I think that was a completely different moment, no? Well, you know, you were with
I
me
was
at that moment.
there.
You were a part of that also. No, I think it was an absolutely masculine structure at that moment, no? And in which where women had very complicated places. No, I mean, I worked for 10 years as an assistant. I was shooting my own shorts in those years, and I shot when I was my first feature when I was 30. I mean, in a way I feel I have not had so many difficulties to develop at my profession, but at the same time, I know if you compare with a film director, a man film director, probably my work was much more demanding that it could have a film for a man with the same abilities as mine or similar skills or same generation. So there is something that was, I started working so young that I've been seeing those changes, through the years. And at the same time, it's funny, because I'm thinking of us when we went to the National Film Institute for the concurso. How do you say concurso? The call for
Yes.
they give the money for first features, and there were different categories, like animation, documentary, woman.
Yeah. And interior, which is like anybody who's not from Buenos Aires. Yes, I remember that very well because it was very
because you are from Rosario. But when I said, well, okay, we have to go there. You told me you have to go there. You have to go to Guman, and that's how I could make my film. I mean, things change a lot. It's not only a question. It's something focused on cinematography, and I think that culture has been changing and putting women in better places than when they used to have when I started working. Me fui de tema, ¿no? ¿O
No,
no?
but
Estamos
it's
en esto.
exactly that. Like when we started, there was, and it was a big thing that all of a sudden in a competition, there was out of 5 awards, 1 for female filmmakers. And I remember you were like, why would you? I was like, no, we need to use this opportunity. But I also remember that in the jury, I think it was a jury of 5, and I think there were 2.
5 men. No, they were all men.
See, I mean, that would be unacceptable today. That is only 1 place for a woman, and the people choosing are all men. I mean, that would be a disaster. And at that point, it was an opportunity. So that's how much it has changed.
Yes.
And
also, if you compare now with the new generations, because at that moment, I lived that as something natural. I mean, I have to accept that, well, things are like that. And you always have to demonstrate that you were able, that you have the capacity to do the thing or the other thing. In a way, being proud of that kind of feminine capacity of tackling many things at the same time. But if you think it now it's more like a patriarchal mandate. It's
absolutely. And you have to constantly prove yourself that you can be equal.
Exactly. But
if
you see new generations is absolutely different. For me, I really learn about them. It's very interesting to listen to them or to see how they connect to things. It's a completely different situation for them.
Yes, absolutely. Now, one more question before we wrap. What opportunities, what freedoms, what expectations, what hopes does this nomination open to you? Does this opportunity open to you? Or what do you wish it brings?
Well, if I have to be honest, I think it's very difficult for us to be among the last 5 candidates. No, it's not only a question, it's to have a good film. There are many other things that are important, no, that publicity and money are, there are a lot of things that needs to give visibility to the films. If I think from the very beginning, we knew this good news in November. It was a kind of surprise because in Argentina, usually the Academy for Argentina from Argentina chooses films that have bigger structures behind. So it's interesting that they decided to vote something that has more an independent structure. No, it's a completely different film. So I think this nomination gives the film visibility, is the opportunity to be sold. It opened doors for me and for new projects, and also for Tarea Fina. So that's a lot for us. It's a moment in which you have that kind of spotlight, no, on what you are doing. So I know I know we always have ups and downs in the director's career. So I think it's something that I have to enjoy. I mean, probably I'm not going to be in the last 5, but it's very good to be on this at this moment.
Yes.
You understand what I mean?
Amazing. You should totally enjoy. You should celebrate. This is great.
So it's that, it was very good for us. I mean, for me, for Tarea Fina, for the film.
Don't say it in the past. It's happening right now.
Wow, yeah, it's happening, but I know the future.
No, you don't. You were very surprised with the nomination. Let life surprise you.
Well,
Going forward.
ojalá. Yeah.
Okay. Is there something else you would like to share or say, or is there something you would like to comment? What's the best advice you received in these 30 years of filmmaking?
When we talked the other day about Janine Merafel, that was the greatest advice, if I think it now. No, it's I think it's important that you go and do what you like. Many times you are just trying to when you start. I mean, it was very different in every films I made, but I feel I always went for what I wanted to do. No, but siempre seguí, lo digo en español.
Sí.
Siempre seguí un poco a la intuición, ¿no? Que muchas veces las cosas tenían que ir hacia un lado o se esperaba que uno hiciera determinadas cuestiones y yo decidía ir hacia otro. No sabía si me equivocaba o no, pero me parece que fue como eso, como algo intuitivo, que está bien que fuera hacia ese lado y que tiene un poco que ver también con esto que me decías el otro día, de lo de Janine Merafel, yo intentando hacer más grande la primera película, la ópera prima, y que ella me dijo, o sea, si tenés el deseo, andá y hacela con lo que tengas, porque si después te va bien, va a haber otros que van a interceder en opiniones, dinero y demás, y vas a perder libertad. Entonces, en lo que yo confío es ir, vos me conocés además en mi vida personal, es ir tras el deseo y tras lo que uno realmente, no especular, ir tras lo que uno realmente desea.
Allow me to translate because this is very important. So I'm going to, if I make a mistake, you correct me. So what you're saying is that the best advice you received was from Janine Merafel in Germany. And what she told you is kind of do the film with what you have, with your desire. If it succeeds, don't wait for those things that we always think we need more and we need more infrastructure. Do it with your own desire and with your own will, because that if it's strong, it will bring in more people and more collaborators in the future. But the kind of freedom you have in the first film is something very unique. And what you're saying, and I know you for many years, and I totally relate to that also in my own experience, is sometimes we kind of believe that we need so much and we put so much expectation in something that is exterior, and being able to not go from what is expected, not go from what is mandated, but going more from the intuition and from the desire and the feeling of like allowing ourselves to find the ways, not just the story we tell that is ours, but the way we tell the story. It's very empowering and liberating, I think.
You did it great.
Okay.
Better than me.
Okay, so I think this is it. Thanks everybody that's been listening and I was there. Thank you, Paula. Congratulations. This is an incredible, incredible achievement. And I think it's worth double because it's a film done on your own terms, with your own will, in your own way, in following your own heart and instinct. And that is incredible. And with amazing collaborators, you know, your producer, your cinematographer, your editor, your actors, Maria Laura, your music, your sound, everything is working together to make this, Los Sonambulos, this.
Yeah, a film is not only the director, no, it's also the crew that you have behind and working with you and the production company and actors and actresses, of course. I always think it's part of you as un director de orquesta, no? It's many things that go together to make a thing. Yeah.
Well, it's funny because today I was teaching and I quoted Rebecca Miller, who was one of my guests in school, and somebody asked her, "What is a director?" And she says, "It's a keeper of tone. It's like a conductor. It's somebody who's always making sure that everybody's kind of in the same." You know, like there's nobody out of tune, that people are kind of connecting and creating something together. And and you do that from the beginning, from writing, hopefully all the way. Hopefully you have the chance and the strength and the power to do it from script to release to distribution. And in everything there is a similar, you know, sound, a similar tone. And that I think makes films distinct.
I agree, absolutely.
Congratulations.
Muchas gracias.
Nos vemos pronto.
Bye bye. Bye.
Bye.